Jammer here, bringing you some tips on physical damage reduction as a caster in Path of Exile. Yo guys, welcome to my video on how to survive as a caster, like some defense strategies. Brought to you by Jammer. So I have had problems surviving as a caster. I've been trying to figure it out, and I think I kind of went the right way. I don't have a lot of armor. I really dislike golems, so I don't like casting the golem like every 5 seconds. I found even with like minion resist and minion life, the thing still died like constantly. So here's my magma ore build. It's pretty much softcore. Nothing. It's not like I'm playing hardcore. I had an incinerator on hardcore and I died because I decided to stand in a whole bunch of frost bearers and figured, hey, maybe these won't kill me, and then I died. Just being retarded. I died at level 83, so decided to try out this league. One of the big defenses that I use is Arctic armor. I think it's kind of underrated right now, especially for a caster. It's so good. But pretty much 12% less physical damage when hit is, to me, is a no-brainer. It just allows you to mitigate some physical damage. To me, that's like the big issue for casters. Another thing I like to use is Enduring Cry with endurance charges. I have 4 endurance charges right now. So each endurance charge reduces damage by 2, I believe. 2%. So you got charges, and then endurance charge, 0 out of 4, and oh, it's 4% per, so, even better. So I got 4, that's 16% from that. So, we're getting there. And the other thing I like to use, I kind of usually go, like, armor-based, sort of. So, I have, like, some strength here. Enough to, put on a chest that has a little bit of armor. I'll show off my build at another level, but that's how I built this guy anyway. So I got like a little bit of armor. I just got this, but I'm probably going to be switching it out when I get a 5 link for like an armor ES, because trying to get three blue sockets on the pure strength chest is going to give me nightmares. But the other thing I like to use is, speaking of my armor, is a cast when damage taken setup that I find works very well. So you kind of need a little bit of strength for this. But for like my kind of like armor build, I have cast when damage taken, increased variation, molten shell, which I'll get to that in a second, and immortal call. So like keep your endurance charges up. I have increased variation just to keep immortal call up a bit longer. And then with Molten Shell, I think it's kind of underrated, to be honest. Because it gives you armor, it gives you damage. Like for this build, since I'm AoE, the damage is actually pretty good because it blows up like quite a bit on the screen. And I actually notice a pretty big difference with it. And it gives you a shield that absorbs 700 damage. At least this one. I keep my cast when damage taken up to level 58 because I'm kind of armor. If you're going like energy shield or something, I would probably maybe put it up a couple more levels because you're going to take bigger hits because you don't have the armor to mitigate. But having that up prevents you from taking 700 damage physical. And I find that extremely helpful because by the time your Immortal Call comes off, you'll have time to cast Enduring Cry a few times. By the time Molten Shell comes off, you should be at full endurance charges, and then when you get thumped for like the amount of damage that it needs to trigger to cast when damage taken, it's almost like a complete cycle. So for me, it's like when I get hit for 1500, then it will cast the Immortal Call, and then the Molten Shell, once the Immortal Call comes off, the Molten Shell will absorb damage, and then by that time, it should trigger again. And repeat the process. I find it works extremely well. And apparently I have a 5 link sitting in my... I didn't even notice that. So, yay. But I kind of go a little bit of... I like going a little bit of armor. I'll probably do like a hybrid, like armor evasion maybe. But I don't have a whole lot of dex. So with the little bit of armor I have, I still mitigate. Is that 24? Yeah, 24. So with all that together, it kind of really helps. Really helps with mitigating physical damage. I'm not, like, I think I mentioned earlier that I'm not a big fan of the golems because they just die so much. So I'll show you a little bit how this works. Hopefully I can get it to Lion Mercy. Hopefully we can get... So there's my Immortal Call, then I got my armor. Just give it a few seconds. Boom, there goes the armor. Boom, there's the Immortal Call, the armor again. There goes the armor. And then it kind of like, you don't take a whole lot of damage from this. I find it helps out so much. It's just enough to, see, there it is again. See, I'm not taking any physical damage. And then you can, so I kind of got like a mini boss here I can kind of show you on. But I find it helps like so much. Like, I don't know, I just noticed a huge difference because when I died in Dried Lake on Cool, all I did was set this up, and it was like night and day, the difference of the damage that I've taken. Now I'm hoping to try out like a Vol Molten Shell, and kind of like, I'm not sure how many charges it takes, but kind of like cast my Curse, cast Enduring Cry, cast Vol Molten Shell, go into a pack, and then hopefully it fills it up by the time I get to the next pack, and then it's just like a little more dips with the defense. But I hope this video helped. It's worked pretty well for me. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. I do stream on twitch.tv.jimajammer. I'm not a huge streamer, but I'm trying to grow. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you leave a like, leave a comment, I'll try and get back as quick as I can. Thank you, and have a great day.